Okay, we've picked this up at this point. I'm going to take you around what's going on in the drawing so far. This is actually a design on a site that's about a 300-foot alignment. So remember, you're keeping track of views, so you can keep track of your overall view. Kind of have my path there in the green. V for view, you can go to, right, you see a couple other views that are not set here. So I want to make sure that as I go through and make a profile, and I'm going to go through and zoom extents here, get rid of that again, I'm going to erase it out. Just because I've erased the profile, I probably got rid of the profile view as well. So once again, you've got a profile to find. You go to Profile, Profile Creation Tools. I'm sorry, you want to go to Profile, create a surface profile. You notice that we've got a proposed center line. We can go ahead and add. We can do different offsets. We're looking at to about 303.65. So I'm going to hit Add, so I can add that surface. Later on, you can come back and change some of these if you would. I don't want you to hit the Draw and Profile view. I want you to hit OK. 303.65. I now go to here. You've done a profile. You can now go to a profile view, or you can immediately create a profile, but I'm going to go to Profile View, create a profile view. You're going to be proactive about grabbing the right alignment, looking at the range, 110.00, at the height, and not grabbing what it gives you, but going to something like 1060 and multiplying. You'll see later on that multiplying by 10, you're going to create a profile view. Then you give it the origin. You type it in 110.00, comma 106.00, and you know it's going to be off by basically this scale times, I think, 100, but it's not going to be perfect. You hit that there. It's now created. Now you can do zoom, center, go to where you think the beginning point is 11.00, comma let's see, I'm going to hit F2 here, 106.00, 106.00. With a 100 height, you get close. If you look at all these views kind of laid out, there you go. And in this case, you want to ID something that makes sense. So usually it's something like that, 110, ID, the intersection. You notice I did not put that at the right spot, so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of it and try again. You want to get your views, your profile views in the right spot. Profile view. Create a profile view. Station range 1100, 1060. Create a profile view 1100, comma 106.00. Zoom center 1100, comma 106.00. Height of 100. You're now there. You double check ID, the intersection. You see that it is off by, we go to here. This is supposed to be 110 ID, the intersection. You want to move it, and turns out you want to move the X over. You want that to be 1,000 feet for the left. So you learn to do this just to practice. Grab it, left click, space bar, and move it at 1,000, angle 180. And then you double check. Zoom window. The intersection. ID, the intersection of that point. And later on, 1100, 106.00, and later on, you're going to see there's going to be all kinds of things you're going to do with that. You like to grab that, turn on the quick profiles, and change it to profile existing right away. You typically don't want all those numbers on there. You've just got an existing here. When you go down here, now you have what is called a profile, surface profile entity. You also have a profile view. And when you look at that, there's going to be profile view properties. You're going to see things that you're going to be changing in here in terms of the identification, particularly the profiles and the bands. You're going to see right here some things to change, and in the bands. In the bands here, you're going to see your label, profile 1. You want that to be there, and right now you've only got one profile. You hit OK. At this point in time, you've got your profile, your existing. You can now define a proposed. I would rather have you do it by data. However, you can do it now by this way. Profile creation tools. You have to grab the profile. You now have it ask you some questions. You would like to be, right, not going to use the standard bit here. You can hit OK. And now you can select and create your tangents. Insert a PVI from the endpoint. You want to be exact on this. And the new PVI, I'm zooming in and out to the end of that. That's why you wrote your data down. You now have a proposed alignment in here. Now you can add some others. If you remember, now you could start doing some drafting and knowing exactly, because you know that station elevation times 10 will get you an exact location. That said, once I know that, I can come in here and insert a new PVI. The snaps have to be off. I'm going to add one there, and add one there. Once you've done that later on, same way as you did in the vertical or the horizontal, you click on that, you get to a profile view properties. You want to go to here. You want to go to profile properties, profile data, design data. You want to go to here, geometry editor. You pull this down here. It looks very much like the one on the top, but now you've got vertical data in and out, and you're going to be changing these curve radiuses, etc., as you go over time. One of the most important things we didn't do is to do a -V window overall underscore profile. Grab a window, come across from here to there. You now have it defined, so you can go V for view, overall set current, V for view, overall profile, and actually even start to set up different multi-view setups. All right, we're looking at trying to go the full 15 and 15, so I'm going to try to push this one all the way through. Excuse me. At this point in time, you are ready to go down to the 0, 0, so zoom, center, 0, 0, at a height of 100. Now you're down on there, and you want to now make an assembly. When you create an assembly, you're going to get this interface. That was the whole point later on. You're going to hit OK here. And where do you want it? You'd probably want to put it not at the 0, 0, but 20 up. You see something like that. Now you want to get to that and that palette, if you would. And you can go through and now put in things like basic or basic lane, or I'm just going to go ahead and stick in a basic lane. I'm going to grab this. You're going to see later on you've got some data here. You should have drafted this one out yourself in AutoCAD, I would say, before you go through this process. But I'm going to grab that lane. And then you're going to see there's these snap points that you grab for one thing, grabbing the other. So I'm going to go to basic, curb and gutter. Once again, I'm going to grab that curb and gutter, try to grab that point there, and you've got the curb and gutter. And then most likely we want to grab I'll do a basic sidewalk right on the edge. Don't necessarily like the way that works, but I'm going to do a basic sidewalk, stick it there. And then I'm going to do a basic, and what you're looking for then is finally daylight. So you want to go to daylights. The DOT will look at how their kind of thing works. Final sub-assembly, but we're going to very often look to the basic daylight as well. Daylight general. I'm going to go and grab the edge of that and see that it lays that out. Hit escape. At this point now, you have a right side laid out. What you must do now is to kind of grab that, and hopefully up at the top here you're going to go to Mirror Sub-Assemblies, and we'll see whether or not this one works on the left side. Mirror Sub-Assemblies, and you select the place to mirror it. So I'm going to try this again. I'm going to grab each of my sub-assemblies, 3 of them, 4 of them, and do mirror sub-assemblies about that point, and we have it all laid out. You now have the sub-assembly done, and the last thing you're going to want to do now is just to click inside of it in the prospector, and you can kind of go to your sub-assemblies and realize that we should have named it a little bit better, but basically in our sub-assemblies and our assemblies we have something laid out there. We can look at the properties there. It's showing you what's there and letting me change it there, or you can just go into the sub-assemblies. So I'm going to go in here, right click, properties, construction. My basic curb right, I'm going to make it a 1 foot centerline width. I'm sorry, a 2 foot. Tab through, 2 foot, tab, hit OK. Same thing now again, right click, properties, construction. Going to check that that was right. Two foot, and on the basic lane left, I'll do the same thing. So there's data attached to each of these, and you can kind of see it coming through here as it would be in a project. So I've got something laid out there. In the end, I might want to not necessarily run this one through, but you've got an assembly made. You can draw a box around it and label it -V, W for window, view name to save, assembly 1. You now have a view saving that assembly. V for view, jump around back to overall, set current. Running up now on how to run the project through. You need to understand the concept of targets, corridors, and the fact that you need a vertical alignment, a horizontal alignment, and a vertical proposed and a vertical existing. If you want to actually go back to V for view, to the overall profile, set current. You can realize here you've got a couple different profiles and then a profile view which has its own properties. And so when we go into profile properties, right there, select a profile. Or when we go to click on here, I'm escaping, grabbing there, profile view properties. I want to go here, and in the bands, I'm labeling the left side is going to be 1 and the right one is going to be the proposed. You want to make sure you get those. As you look inside here, you see they are now different. You want to make sure that those line up. Again, this is not really set up for a DOT type because they're running theirs every 50 feet, but you've labeled those out. So now your last sense of, you can play around within this, but your last sense is to go ahead and make a corridor, create a simple corridor. You're going to go through here. You're going to hit a space bar and select from your list. Hit a space bar, grab the proposed, not the existing, and then hit a space bar, hit the assembly. Grab the target surface, you've only got one, hit OK, and then go V for view, go back to overall, set current, OK. Right now you see it tried to do something, it had a lot of overlap, but that should be good. The last bit then we'll see will be to take this surface, click on the edge of this corridor, and then you're going to change the corridor properties. You're going to go all the way to surfaces and add this second button. It's going to make a lot of surfaces, and they're going to go from there. The only one you really want to deal with is, in fact, this top one for now, but the rest of them are necessary for computations. That's about it. We'll do iterations of that. Thanks for listening.